Hi, this is Mike Elliott, and you're watching a CEO Live executive interview. In this episode, we'll be talking to Mr. Jerry Mikolajczyk, the CEO of Sun Energy, a development stage oil company. Sun Energy is a publicly traded company. It's listed under ticker symbol XNRG. Good morning, Jerry. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having us over.
To start off, could you give us a brief overview of Sun Energy's background and a little bit of its recent history?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Mike. Sun was incorporated in 2007, and originally its business operations was to focus in on real estate. In fact, the name of the company was called Real Value Estates. In 2010, the company went through a change of control. The new board of directors wanted to focus in on the energy side and did transact or went into a definitive agreement with a company called Global Power and Water Industries for the acquisition of their company. It was basically an RTO. And they had power purchase agreements in China, several of them, all very good ones. Unfortunately, that transaction fell through, and the company then moved on, changed its name to Sun Energy in 2010. After the name change, we focused in on the oil side. We did enter into a MOU with Global Energy Group out of Pembroke, Florida. After doing our due diligence and discussions with them, we decided not to go through with that transaction. And then immediately after that, we did go into picking up some leases in Kentucky. We were successful in completing the first workover well and producing oil in March 2011. We did transact with a major investor to invest $10 million into the company, and that fell through. That really hurt the company, and as a result of that, we lost our leases in Kentucky. We rebounded, raised some money, and focused in on a property in Texas, the West Crockett project. That was very good. It was producing oil, and we went into contract with them, put down our deposit. However, we were under a very, very tight timeline, and during that period, we weren't able to successfully raise the money to go ahead and close, and as a result, we lost the project as well as our earnest deposit. We refocused and decided to go into a play where we can pick up the property on a share exchange basis. We were very successful in negotiating with Vencedor Energy Partners for 30 well locations in Pennsylvania with an option to do another 15 wells. That came through. We were able to close on those 30 well locations on a share transaction. And here we are today. Now we've started doing site work on it. And hopefully before fall, we should be drilling our first well. It's all based on financing, and there's delays. Weather delays have also caused some problems in getting the sites completed. But we're on track, just not on time, and these things do happen, and we appreciate that our shareholders are patient as we go through this. And hopefully we'll be producing oil in the next several months. And we've got 30 wells and another 15 more after that. So we're hoping to complete all 45 wells in Pennsylvania. These are shallow wells, low risk, and the oil's there. They're in between producing wells.
And that leads into my next question, which I wanted to talk about, was the main drilling project Sun Energy is currently working on. Just give us a brief overview of those if you could.
It is the 30 wells in Pennsylvania. These are shallow wells. The wells are located on 3 leases. The Rice lease. The Rice leases has 5 wells producing oil right now. Vencedor owns 4 of those locations, and they are producing oil. They were drilled last year, and those wells are meeting their expectations. We have already conducted the site work on it this week. They're back on it again to finish up the last 2 pads. And then after that, it's to go ahead and book our rig. These things don't happen as fast as everybody would like it, but we're very optimistic that the rig will be available and we can put it on and start drilling for oil.
And earlier this year, you announced a $15 million reserve equity financing from AGS Capital. Would you say at this point the company is adequately capitalized for the remainder of 2013?
That equity line doesn't come into play until we become effective by the SEC. We filed a S1 registration statement, and that'll take 60 to 90 days. We don't expect that to become effective till about September. So we still need funding in between, and we are working on a couple of different funding propositions right now. We've gone into MOU with two of them. Unfortunately, until we close, we cannot disclose or announce those fundings, but we do have to fill that gap between now and by the time the S1 comes into play. The S1, the 15 million, is more than enough to cover our drilling costs, our CapEx costs. The total CapEx cost for the Venango project is $7.5 million. We have a $15 million equity line. We plan to use some of that for Venango. The other balance of it will be using for acquisition. Mostly as down payments to get producing properties, larger properties. Our target is 200 to 300 barrel a day producing properties.
And finally, what insight, if any, can you give us into the recent stock activity on XNRG?
I'm glad you asked that question, Mike. Obviously, long-term profitability adds up to augmented shareholder value. While this is the highest priority, rapid company development requires confident and industry-savvy management. The management has to construct a strong business foundation. This is paramount underpinning that will allow Sun Energy to meet its staged objectives. A strong foundation built on knowledge, due diligence, and timely disclosure is what investors expect and should receive for their investment in any public company. Sun Energy will provide timely and good quality news and exhibit a commitment to standards that separates us from other OTC BV companies. So in keeping with this, let us say that we transacted several convertible notes with various financial groups over the last several months. This has been disclosed in our filings. A couple of the notes have come due. The stock is now feeling the pressure from these very notes. The upside to all of this is that funding from these transactions have put Sun Energy in a position of moving ahead with its next objectives. We can tell you with all confidence, even though the transactions did have an adverse effect on share value in the short term, that these notes are being fully assimilated into the market. We believe this is a temporary effect on share value and should soon be exhausted. To our shareholders, we believe and want to make it clear that our latest round of financing was used to position the company in the most beneficial way. We will be releasing more news in the very near future on additional financing.
Thanks, Jerry. That's all the questions I had for today. Were there any comments you wanted to add before we close?
Yes, thank you very much, Mike, for giving me this opportunity. We are committed to constructing a rock-solid foundation, and I emphasize this because shareholders have different investment objectives. A company's fundamentals can only advance with regular foundation attention by everyone who works for a company. This is how you maintain and increase your value to shareholders. This is how you achieve business plan stated objectives. With this, we will always keep an open line of communication with our shareholders. Our investor line is 954-687-0011. Our website is www.sunenergy.com, and I repeat, www.XNERGY.com. Lastly, while the focus is drilling and producing oil, any business opportunity that makes sense, which will increase the company's value, is on the table, such as strategic acquisitions, joint ventures, etc. If it makes business sense, we will look at it. Thank you very much, Mike.
Jerry, and thank you. Thanks for taking the time to sit down with us.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. We've been talking to Mr. Jerry Mikolajczyk. He's the CEO of Sun Energy, a development stage oil company. Sun Energy is a publicly traded company listed under ticker symbol XNRG, and you can find out more about them by visiting their website at www.xunenergy.com. Thank you.